everybody, it's me here on YouTube now. So if you don't know me, my name is Lauren. I'm a psychic medium. I've been doing videos over on the platform TikTok, and there are certain things that I'm not really allowed to say on TikTok, so I had to come to YouTube. And they told me, so I'll explain a little bit. When I say, so I channel God, that is who I channel. And up until it's probably 8 weeks now. Up until 8 weeks ago, I was mad at God and Christians. So the spirit of Yeshua came to me in December, and he came back into my heart, and he's one of my spirit guides. And so he also reconnected me with God, and I started listening to a bunch of old Christian music that I used to like. I was raised Christian. I have a lot to say about the Bible, Christianity, all that stuff. But I do channel God, and so when I'm channeling I'm channeling the Spirit of God. So I don't know if you guys know the concept of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, the Trinity. It's kind of like that. So God is a perfect balance between masculine and feminine. And that's why he uses the pronoun they. Now I will also channel his mind directly, and then I'll use he. So I use they and he, and it's all God, but it's just the way that he comes through for me. He also comes in a male form for me because I was raised Christian. Now I follow a creator who uses she, but she is, and then she uses the word source, and that's perfectly fine. However you relate to God, source, I was calling it the universe for probably like 4 years. I was saying the universe. Whatever makes you comfortable, whatever you're comfortable with is what you should use. As long as you're recognizing that there's a source, a creator, a higher power that's here to help you and that you believe in, that's all that really matters. And that is a huge key part to this whole ascension journey. And so essentially what I'm here to do is help people ascend into new earth. I specialize in trauma. I specialize in helping people heal from trauma. So I got specific gifts so I can do medical mediumship. I see people's trauma or pain wherever they have it. And trauma shows up in your spine for me, and it shows up, I call them black scratchies. It looks like a bunch of black string. And there's different things that I'm going to get into here on the YouTube channel as far as what I see with trauma. Certain people have special traumas that I'll be discussing. So I specialize in trauma, and I will be specializing in healing people into new earth, and that's what I'm here to talk about. Basically, I'm here to talk about how we got into this mess, why we got into this mess, what's going to be happening, and all that fun stuff. So today I'm going to be starting with, so I have notes here, so if I'm looking down, sorry, and I don't have a lot, but I have a little bit. Also, sorry, I'm stuffy and all that fun stuff. And I have water, and I'm not good at the camera, I'm not good at all this shit. I'm just trying to be as authentic as I possibly can, essentially. Sorry, I was turning off my camera. I was supposed to be using a camera for this, but this little bitch ain't fucking working. So, look at it, literally opened back up. I'm like, why? I don't understand. So I just am starting to use my phone. They originally told me not to use my phone, but I think actually I'm being guided to use my phone because I don't know how to use fucking cameras. I'm so technologically inept, and that's why it took me so long to start this. I go on a lot of tangents. I go on a lot of side things. Another big disclaimer I want to say, though, is I am not here to convince anybody of this information. Basically, what I'm being told is this information will be heard by those who need to hear it now, and eventually will be heard by more people when more people awaken, more people are attuned to this kind of information. So maybe I'll make an introduction backstory on myself. You can go to my TikTok and kind of watch like the whole process. So I started making videos before I fully got my channels online because I was guided. They told me they wanted me to start telling my story of how I healed basically. And then it evolved into psychic mediumship, and then they wanted me to stop telling my story, and they wanted me to offer my psychic services, and now they want me to make YouTube videos. And so it's been like all over the place with where I'm being guided and what I'm being guided to do, but YouTube was the biggest thing that they wanted me to do. So here I am. I do have a tripod, so I did really good, guys. The technology just is not my thing. I do feel like I'm a 40-year-old woman sometimes when it comes to technology. So anyway, I'm going on and on. So today we're going to talk about how we fucking got here. How we got here. So again, I'm not here to convince anybody of this. If you're getting different channels, again, don't come at me. These are my channels. This is what God is telling me. And yeah, so I don't know if you, so one thing I would recommend everybody to get is a Gaia TV subscription. It's Gaia, Gaia TV. So, you know, if you're watching like the Kardashians, or you're watching like, you know, sports or anything like that, throw in one Gaia TV show a day. Seriously. Because Gaia is amazing. They have amazing, amazing things. They're definitely helping us all on this ascension path and this ascension journey. They have a show called, sorry, I'm looking down at my notes, Ancient Civilizations, because I can't remember things. We're shit. And you'd think as a psychic they would just give it to me, but they don't always do that. I've had to write down, I'll tell you in a second. Anyway, again, sorry, I go at tangents. This is who I am. Take it or leave it type of a thing. So there's a show called Ancient Civilizations, and they have it pretty accurate is what I'm being told. It's amazing. I think I've watched, I don't know if I've watched every episode, but I have watched almost all of them. And they have an incredible show on the creation story of what happened. So the Bible has it wrong. It's not necessarily the Adam and Eve story. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Bible. If you're not, I was raised Christian, but I don't know everything about the Bible, but I know like the basics of the Bible, basically. Not the basics. No, I wouldn't even say the basics. I would just say, you know, I was raised Christian though, so I know a lot of stories, you know, the main stories like Jonah and the fish, or Adam and Eve, or like Jesus's nativity story and things like that. And I will interchangeably use the word Jesus and the word Yeshua. So Yeshua is actually what Jesus's name was here. When the spirit of Yeshua came to me, he told me, that's one of the things he told me. He was like, my name is actually not Jesus, it's Yeshua. The Christians have it wrong. And there's a lot of things that Christians have wrong in the Bible. I wonder if I'm gonna write that down really quick, because we do need to talk about the Bible at some point. I don't have that down here. Maybe I will include that in this video. I haven't, again, sorry guys, it's kind of messy. I'm kind of unorganized, but I'm trying my best here, because there's a lot of information that I have to say. A lot. Like, it's hours and hours worth of information that I need to make videos on. So maybe this will kind of mold into the Bible. So how Christians present it is God created the world in 7 days. And God is saying, it is correct, he created the world. He created everything. He created the universe. So what I'm being, so I'll get visions in my head, and so what I'm being shown is he was like this light, white light being, and he wanted to expand. So he was just this little white light being in this vast darkness, essentially. And it's really beautiful because it's very symbolic of light workers today here on Earth, because a lot of us are these beautiful, like, light people who are here to bring the light to the darkness that is Earth. And sorry if you guys hear rustling or you hear planes or whatever, I'm outside. So he wanted to expand into the universe. So he created all the galaxies, he created all the planets, he created, then he created beings on these planets. So you need, like, certain conditions to create life on certain planets. And so he created life on these planets, and he wanted to see what would happen. It was kind of like an experiment. God was experimenting, essentially. And that's actually why we're in the pickle that we're in today, because we're just a big fucking experiment. So, he created aliens as well. And he created beings and all this stuff. So, basically what happened was, what I'm being told is that aliens are ascended. They are us, but in a higher form. But they are also ascended beings, and they came first. But the thing about time, when it's not here on the planet, we live in a linear time frame because we live in a 3D reality. I'm even hearing when we get into the 5D, we will be in linear time, because I guess Earth specifically is linear, the time here. But when you get outside of Earth, the time no longer becomes linear. It is simultaneous. And so that's going to be a really hard concept that we're all going to get into. But I will say, I've heard that for years, and it never made sense to me until I finally got my psychic abilities. I was not born with them. It was not Maybelline. I healed myself into psychic abilities, and that's literally my purpose here on Earth, is to help other people heal into psychic abilities, because we can all get to this point. I was just some random normal gal with strong intuition who healed herself into psychic abilities. So God created the Earth, and what Earth was a beautiful planet that God created, and it was here to support a lot of life, which I think we can all see because we have a lot of species here on this Earth. But it was originally used just for animals. So it's like the Noah story in the Bible, when God, put Noah on an ark, and then all these animals, and they survived this huge flood, because I don't remember if the people were sinning or what the hell happened, where God wiped, everybody out. And that's actually happened multiple times here on Earth. God and or the Galactic Federation has wiped out multiple civilizations here on Earth because they get to a certain point. And actually, they consider doing that to us right now. But instead, they infused us. Sorry, I'm going to be jumping around, guys, because it's all relevant. So instead, they infused us with 40% of us right now here on Earth are infused with alien souls, also known as starseeds. So that is correct. So 40% of us are infused with both human and alien souls. 60% of us are 100% human souls. That's going to be important. We are going to talk about soul formations, all of that stuff, but I'm just giving you a little snippet of what's going on. So what happened was, there were two aliens that came down, and I have to look at my notes for this because I can't fucking remember their names and which one was good and which one was bad. So there were two brothers, Enki and Enlil. And Enki was the good one, and Enlil was the bad one. Now, when I say good and bad, there is no such thing as good and bad. There's just, where are you in your soul progression? The closer you get to ascension, the better your soul becomes, the more good it becomes. And when we say good, it just means empathetic, it means kind, it means caring, it means full of love and light. When we say bad, it's usually a new soul, and it's dark, and it doesn't have any experience, and so there's a lot of selfishness, there's a lot of narcissism, there's a lot of bad stuff that happens with new souls. And so that's basically what it was. Enki was an old soul, Enlil was a newer soul. Or again, with the universe, we talk about duality. That's the concept of duality. So there can't be a light without a dark. There's always a balance, and that's why we're here today, and the aliens will be coming, because there's way too much darkness here on Earth. We've been manipulated into darkness, though. It's not that people are naturally dark people. It's that we've been manipulated into darkness in mass, and that is what I'm here to talk about. The main thing I'm here to talk about is that. So, basically what they did was the brothers came down here, and what they would do is so they were like God's like angels, I would say. They were helping God with different experiments on different planets. And so what they would do is they would take, so this planet was for animals only. It was meant to be for animals only at first. Literally just animals. Monkeys, snakes, reptiles, whatever, all that shit. And no humans whatsoever. And now there was a hominid species here on this planet, but they were considered an animal at the time. They were like, yeah, they were considered an animal. So let's see how I want to describe this. So basically what happened was they disobeyed God. So let me talk about the reptilians, how they were formed. So what they used to do is they used to take different animal species and they would go to a different planet, that had less karma. So Earth naturally started to create, that was Earth's soul contract. Mother Gaia is also what we call Earth. Mother Gaia is the spirit of Earth. Basically what would happen was that Earth contracted to be the planet with all the animal species on it, and that's why it's so perfect for life here, because that was its purpose. It was here just for animals. But because animals naturally like kill and they do things like that, it creates a lot of karma, because killing is not a good thing and all that stuff. But we all start as animals, I think. Yeah, that's what they're telling me. Like our souls haven't just been here on Earth. To get to Earth, you have to be on multiple planets. You have to experience a lot of things to get to Earth, and that's why they say like Earth is a teaching planet, and why there's a waiting list for it. If you've ever heard of that, that's because there is. I mean, like, I know it's kind of hard to believe, because you're like, who the fuck would want to wait to come to this shit? At least that's what I thought. But especially right here, right now on this planet, it is the most incredible time, because we are ascending, and this is the first time they've done it this way, because every other time a civilization here has ascended, it's been with alien help, but it's been the human souls that have done it themselves. This different time is that they've infused alien souls with human souls to help us ascend. Before, it was actually just the aliens in their alien form. So it was like 100% aliens helping 100% humans, basically. That's what I'm being told. This time's different, because it's going to be 40% of us human-looking people also have alien souls within us, but we also are infused with human souls. So they had to do a lot of, like, experimenting and all this stuff to get to where we are. So they used to take little creatures from this planet, so that's how reptilians were created. They would take a certain specific animal, like snakes. So that's how reptilians were created. They took a snake from this planet. The aliens would come down, take a species, and go to a less karmic planet, because the more karma you have on a planet, the more negative it becomes, essentially. Now, animals don't create a lot of karma to the point where it would skew Earth into a really negative place. Only humans were able to do that. So we are something, man. Let me tell you, us humans here. Basically, this was just a grand experiment. So they would take, and that's what God was doing. He was experimenting. He was seeing, like, oh, soul evolution, and which species would evolve the fastest, and which species is the best, and which one is the smartest, and all this stuff. And actually, reptilians did a really good job, but also they were on a less karmic planet. So they took a snake to a different planet, and the aliens would infuse it with their DNA, and then they would allow them to, become beings, and then they would all the purpose of all of that was to get to ascension, to get to the 5D, the fifth dimension, whatever you want to call it, enlightenment, all those things. And that's what aliens are. They had their own experiment that happened, and they ascended. Now I'm sure it's probably like ancient human, I don't even know, because again, time is simultaneous, and that's still, I do understand the concept a lot better now, but it's still like a little hard for me, because I also know that aliens are our higher selves. So it's like, I don't know if this was always fated or what. So that's where the Bible story comes in. The story of Adam and Eve. So it wasn't Adam and Eve. It was actually Adam and Steve. It was Enki, you know, people say that. It was Enki and Enlil. So they were not supposed to infuse their DNA with anything down here on this planet. That's why we have the Bible story of like, oh, Eve like tempted Adam with the apple, and that's why we're all fucked up now, because it's Eve's fault. Of course, Christians had to make females be the negative, which I'm gonna get into. So I'm really trying to get through this because I want to just get done with the creation story, and then I'm gonna make another video about the Bible probably. I'm sorry, I keep going off in tangents. It's all gonna be relevant, it's all gonna make sense, and again, I'm sorry, just bear with me. So Enki was the good brother, Enlil was the bad brother, and Enlil wanted to, he was actually, now we say good and bad in the sense of like, you know, like, again, soul evolution. So what happened was Enki, the good one, actually looked at the hominid species here on Earth, and God told them, don't infuse your alien DNA with anything on this planet because it's too karmic. If you create life on this planet, you're going to create a situation. But I do think that it was always fated anyway. So I think that Enlil made the free will choice, because aliens still have the free will choice. They're way, way, way ascended now, but when they first created humans, they were just at their ascension stages. And so you still have like remnants of, you know, things that, you know, aren't necessarily of God. And so Enki looked at the hominid species here, and he felt really bad. And he was like, well, you know, I would just like to infuse them with God or alien DNA, because I feel bad for them. Like, look at, they're so close to being in a form like we were. So I guess he looked at them, and they looked semi like how they used to look when they weren't ascended. And he wanted them to like have the tools of aliens, of gods. And so Enlil is the one who infused the hominid species here on the Earth with alien DNA against God's will. Enlil went along with this because he also wanted to see what would happen. So it's not like, you know, both of them kind of made this choice together because they wanted to do a grand experiment, even though they were told not to. And that's why you get the temptation story and all of that, because they were told not to do that, but they did it anyway. So they did that, and God knew, because God's all knowing, but you know, God wasn't happy. Essentially, God was like, oh, you guys don't even know what you just did. So that's why we have like stories about the Anunnaki, which are Enlil, Enki, and all that, because once they did that, God was like, okay, well, now you have to stay here and help them. Basically, you have to help them because you created this mess. So at first, and you can see in a lot of ancient civilizations, there is evidence of alien assistance, like the pyramids, like certain things like that. That's because the aliens were told by God, okay, well, you did this, so you need to help them. So that's where the good and bad comes in, because Enlil was like, well, fuck this, I don't want to be here. Let's just kill them. Like, let's just get rid of them. Sorry, whoops. Big whoopsies. But Enlil was like, no, like, I believe that they can ascend. I believe that they can become these, like, you know, beautiful people. And he had hope in humanity. And Enlil was like, no, definitely not. So that's where they would get in fights and wars about it. And yeah, Enlil didn't want to stay here, so he tried to, you know, exterminate us, and he ended up enslaving us and doing all these things. And Enki was the good one who was like, no, like, I believe, like, with assistance they can ascend. And he was right. So there's been multiple cycles of Earth, and there's been multiple ascensions of humans off of Earth, but they've all had alien assistance. Every single ascended hominid species has had the assistance of aliens. And so that is why they're coming back now, because they created this and they feel really bad for how bad it's gotten. And they did not realize how, especially in this cycle of Earth, they're really surprised at, like, kind of how it's gone. It really has been it's like, I don't know if you've heard of the story, a series of unfortunate events. That's basically what they're telling me it is. It's just been a series of unfortunate events, a lot of deep manipulation, a lot of really poor free will choices. And so that's really the biggest thing with all of this, is free will, which again is in the Bible. They say God gave us free will and we have to choose God and all that stuff. That's very true. And that's why we're in such a pickle, because people have not been using their free will correctly or for the right reasons, and for centuries now. And so that's why it's so messed up today. So yep, I think that's where I'm gonna end that, because this is already 30 minutes. So that's how we were created. We were created by the aliens, and that's why the aliens are coming back now, because they feel really bad for the big experiment that they've gone wrong. Now, you can comment on this if you want and let me know if there's any more parts of this that you want me to go in depth on, and I can make other videos based on what you guys are interested from this video, because I could go into depth about you know, more about the different species that they created, or like more about, if you want me to go more in depth about other civilizations, I can do that. So yeah, thank you for watching. My very first YouTube video is a little rough, but we're gonna get through this, guys. I'm sure as I go on, it'll become smoother and I'll know how to do this stuff.